Okay, so your name is Alan.
Yeah.
How old are you?
7.
And you
Oh, it's 8.
You're 8. And your speciality is cat noises.
There
There we
Say
go.
yes or no.
And then this is Mommy and this is Daddy. Okay, so tell us the story of what happened.
So I'm Lorena, and I used to take my son, obviously, on time and on the schedule, and I never, separate the vaccines at all. I have no issues whatsoever with vaccines. So what happened is after the MMR, he started having absences, and he would go like this. So I talked
do
to
that
the
again. I'm going to enlarge your face.
Okay, he was like having electric things. So he was going like this, and he used to be absent, like lost in paradise. So I talked to the pediatrician about it, and he told me not to worry about it because all babies make funny faces. So I bought it, and 3 months later we went for the DTaP plus others. It was like 7 shots, I think, that day.
Oh
and
my God.
the same afternoon he was a different child. They switched my son. So from that point he started rocking himself. He started staring at the window. He started tiptoeing. He used to cry a lot just by hearing his father's noise. He used to cry because of his shadow. He all the time was acting like he was seeing ghosts. Like he was like anxious everywhere. I mean, he was really, really bad. Of course, we started having diarrhea or mushy poop. He used to be constipated 3, 5, 7 days. We went to see an expert, a gastro expert, and he advised me to give him Miralax. He didn't seem to be concerned at all. When I said, my son is he can go without poop for 5 days, 7 days, he said, well, it's not too bad. I said, how can that be bad? I mean, can you imagine? So I realized in that moment that I was alone, that nobody was going to help me at all. So I went on Google and I was trying to find info, and I came with some Hispanic information. And all of these
Spanish.
all of these people were saying that they happen exactly the same to them after the vaccines. So from that point, I started researching. I introduced by myself a protocol for him, and I did a lot of things, like I changed his diet, and I was really, really strict. And when that happens, he stopped the tiptoeing, and he stopped the humming, and he obviously regressed on his language. He lost. So my husband told me, have you realized that he doesn't talk anymore? I say, yeah. So all this happened after the vaccines.
And he
And-
can walk.
And I started doing all these changes and all these supplements that I was given, and even my husband was against it. He was, you're going to kill him. So anyway, I had a conversation with the pediatrician, and I asked him questions, and he couldn't answer the questions. He couldn't. And I said, how can you tell me to have my son be up to date to vaccines when you are unable to answer these questions for me? And I'm getting my information from other people on the internet. And this is not, random whoever. This is another doctors. They are sharing their opinion. And how can you say nothing about my questions, straightforward questions? How can you be okay with me keeping with the mercury, keeping with the aluminum, keeping with formaldehyde and all this stuff? So he couldn't answer for me. He gave me 45 minutes of his time, even though when you go for the annual checkup, they give you 10 minutes. It was so important for him to talk about the vaccines, to convince me to keep doing it, that he gave me 45 minutes. So I ended up obviously getting somebody else. I stopped vaccinating, and I never will. And from that moment, I became aware from the cause. And what happened is, if autism is genetic, why I could be able to recover my son? Why it was a point that our lab tests start getting normal, better. Every time, every year, the results are normal, are better. Why? Isn't genetic? So why my son recovered
Recovered somewhat.
most, I would say most. And now my son, he knows about what happened to him, and I'm educating him so he can protect himself, because he's going to listen that vaccines save lives, vaccines are good. He has to know the truth. He has to stand for himself and say, not for me. You can do whatever you want, but not for me. So that's our story.
So they're asking what you did to recover him.
Well, I introduced nasal B12. When I did that, the abscesses stopped.
Gluten-free diet.
Diet is
Dairy.
key.
Diet is key.
So he's still on the diet.
Sometimes we break it,
A little bit.
but
You have enzymes.
the bottom line is when we break it, you don't see that he goes backward. See? So
he may get constipated.
every year he's getting better and better and better.
He looks great to me. Did you sign the bus yourself?
No.
I did it. He wasn't there by the time I did it.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Seriously, you with what you're doing, you as well. You're a rock star.
Thank God.
So Alan,
Thank God he's good.
when you
He's
get
pretty good
married,
now.
what are you going to find in the woman? Remember? I always tell him,
What
you better
going
make
to-
sure.
What are you going to find
You
in a
better
woman?
make sure she's not a chick that likes vaccines. Thank you for everybody
No,
out
thank you guys. We
there.
love
Thank
you
you.
all. And we're coming back in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
This couch is comfy.
Yeah.